It's a great day to talk hockey on Habscast.
Indeed it is. Demidov. 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 What a play. My goodness. I was so glad when he gets out the first two shifts in overtime. Does this not, I hope this is a SOS to Marty to, when there's four players from the other team on the ice, get Demidov out there as much as you can, especially 5-on-4. First power play. Although, hey, hard to say you got to take Bolduc off now after finally getting a beauty. Been waiting for that one timer from the bumper from Bolduc. We saw that tonight. So nice play by him. Let's have a quick look here at the. I wanted to get the Dobes. How many saves did he end up with tonight? Fantastic. Both goalies. Amazing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dobes after tonight, his save percentage is .950. Not bad for a guy that, one out of every two games he's there, right? I don't know what Stefan Waite was talking about, but the Canadiens have a legitimate a third legitimate rookie candidate. You know what? I looked it up today because there is a really, really good chance that the Canadiens have three Calder Trophy. When the final nominations come out in the voting, Dobes, Kapanen, and Demidov. If you were to do the voting today, all three for sure would be in the top 10, maybe top 6. I went back and I researched only twice since expansion in 67, since there was 6 teams, has clubs had 3 players end up in the top 10 in Calder voting. Interestingly, it was the Leafs and the Habs. The Leafs in 2016-17, I guess it was. Matthews, Marner, Nylander. The Habs in 84-85, Chelios, Steve Penny, and Mike McPhee. The only 2 times it's happened. Could be seeing it a third time this year with Kapanen, Dobes, and Demidov. That a year after Hudson winning the Calder Trophy. So, it just bodes so well for the future, having that much young talent coming up, and Demidov once again, right? Just an amazing, amazing play by him. He's so shifty. My goodness. The Canadiens have a future superstar. I mean, I said it last year, but you still, when you see it at the NHL level and just how game by game he's gaining more confidence, it's just it's a pleasure to be alive when the Canadiens are so exciting again. It brings back memories of the, I'm fortunate enough to have, when I was a kid, the Flying Frenchman, right? Lafleur, Cornoyer, Lemaire, Lapointe, it's fun. It's fun to be a Habs fan again after such a, there was a stretch there, a lot of years, a lot of dark years, boy. But, the wait's been worth it. I think the Canadiens have themselves a real powerhouse to be here. 6-2. Let's have a look at the standings here. Tied for first overall in the Eastern Conference with New Jersey. First in the Atlantic Division. Tied for first overall, actually, in the NHL. 6-2. They're 3-1 on the road, 3-1 at home. Hey, .750 win percentage at home and on the road. That ain't bad. What a what a difference from last year. What were they, 2-6 at this point? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Somebody look that up for me and post it in the comments, please. I know, I've got a great group of people that contribute here as the post game shows go along, and I'm flying solo here again tonight. So let's have a look at the stats. Mike Matheson, 25-29 again, or 25-26. Anybody got any complaints about Matheson tonight? Crickets, eh? Good, because Matheson was fantastic tonight. Made up for any supposed blips from from the previous two games. Joshua Wall only played 758. Yeah, well. Suzuki 2106, another great game by him. Carrier on over 21 minutes. He's been so solid. I'm glad to see him getting rewarded with lots of ice time. I thought Kapanen was superb again tonight. Man, he should have had he could have had a couple of goals. -1, well, that's a blip. I mean, they didn't deserve to be -1, that line. They played great head-to-head against Kadri, and I thought Kapanen was way better. I see all these comments, people saying, "Oh, trade for Kadri." Why? Freaking Kapanen already better, and he's 22, and Kadri's like 34 or something like that. But I don't know. I'm not the biggest Kadri fan. He was diving and doing his usual crap all game. I don't know that he fits in chemistry-wise with this young team. It wouldn't be the guy I'd be pursuing. That's for sure. Maybe that's just me, but it's the way I look at it. Face-offs tonight. Jake Evans, 53%. Nick Suzuki, 58. I loved Suzuki's game tonight. Geez, when he hit that crossbar, I thought he had one for sure. And poor Slav. I mean, Slav has been setting up guys all season so far. Every night he makes some really nice passes, and they just don't get converted. The one to Caulfield was a beautiful play. He won the puck battle along the boards, got it right to Caulfield in the scoring area, couldn't score. Set up Suzuki for that great, for the one that zinged off the post. It wouldn't go in. Every night he's made some passes that, with a little luck, could have been goals, and either they zing off the post or the goalie makes a great save. The Canadiens only scored 2 goals tonight, but they probably should have had 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5. He was Wolf was great. Dobes, we got the new Dominator on our hands. That was I put the thumbnail up after the second period. It didn't get jinxed this time. They actually, he didn't let in 5 goals or whatever. He's got to be up to. I was looking at his save percentage, and when it was at 37, he was at 949. So if he didn't have any more saves, it was 9.9495, so rounded up to 950. So he's at least 950 save percentage now on the season. For a guy that only 1 out every 2 games, he's there. Wait till he starts. Wait, Stefan, until he's there 2 out of every 3 games. Man, what's his save percentage going to be? I don't know, 999 or anyway. Fantastic game from Dobes again. He is so much. He's not flailing all over the place like we saw last year a lot of the time. He's he's still competing hard, but he's just so much more in control in the net. And whoever worked with him this summer, hell of a job, because Dobes is playing very controlled, very well, and he's big, and he's got such good athletic ability, and he comes out, cuts down the angles, composed, athletic. everyone talks about Fowler being the future number one, but what I've seen from Dobes so far this year, legitimate number one potential there in him as well. So it might be a pleasant problem down the, a couple of years from now, fighting over who, which guy's the number one. And then, Monty's, well, last year was a number one and got them into the playoffs. So Canadiens are in a good spot right now, goaltending wise, defense wise, forward wise. Dobson had his first. I'm glad I didn't see. I think Canadian fans are pretty intelligent on the whole, and even though they can overreact to one play at times, they understand that Dobson, up until that turnover, he hadn't made any egregious mistakes in his first 7 games. So I think most are forgiving him for for that. I kind of bounced a bit, and so it happens. It happens to the best. Every defenseman, it happens to every now and then. You can't play 22 plus minutes a game and against other teams' top lines and not. Although Klapka, I guess, wouldn't be considered a first liner, but yeah, that was and then the penalty. Well, hey, so a couple of. Dobson has been great. I'm more than happy with how well he's played, and he's made Matheson better, and he's made the Canadiens better. They've going out west and winning. I don't care how poor the other team is playing right now or whatever. Calgary didn't play poorly, but to get a win on a Western swing, the first game, it's not easy. Doesn't matter where the other team is in the standings. So the Canadiens get a big win to start this Western swing. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when they were lucky to get a point out of a Western swing. So right now, you gotta be impressed with how they've played on the road to win 3 out of 4 to start the year. Fantastic. Well, I gotta take a drink. No beer tonight. Let's get to some comments here. Drum Dude, hey, good, glad to see you're in here, Drum Dude. Wolf was something else. Dovish too. Wolf saved some shots that should have been goals. Yeah, he he's proving that you don't have to be over 6'2" to be when you're that athletic, and he helps just as Hudson has helped hopefully altered scouts' minds a little bit about you don't take the 5'9" defenseman high. You see the play of Dustin Wolf and the next 5'11" and a half goalie that comes along that is close to as good as Wolf was in junior. You have to think about Dustin Wolf and say, well, if he can do it, maybe this guy can do it. I mean, Wolf was amazing in junior. I watch him in Everett, and he, just go check out his goals against average and save percentage in junior with Everett. It was just crazy, but wasn't tall enough, right? Well, sometimes guys just overcome the supposed deficiencies, just like the 6-foot quarterback that overcomes his supposed height issues to be fantastic. Doug Flutie, 5'9" or whatever, was a great example. But yeah, I do really like Wolf. Let's see what Sheldon, my benefactor, Sheldon Hughes, has to say here. Big win on the road. Flames are a well-coached team. Every team is a tough out. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, Detroit lost. You're right there, LPB. They did. So, haha. First place in the Atlantic Division. Has a nice ring to it, eh? You know what? I thought it going into the year. I was saying it that the Canadiens, it's up for grabs. I think the Atlantic Division with Barkov. With Barkov and Tkachuk, I would have picked Florida, and but without Barkov for the year, I could see the Canadiens being in the mix to win the division. I don't think Tampa's as good anymore. I think they've come back to the pack as well. Toronto without Marner, they just aren't as good. I'm sorry, you lose 100-point scorer for nothing. It's going to affect you. Excuse me one sec. I actually have a Kleenex tonight. Sorry, I've been fighting a little bit of a virus here. We'll get to some more here. Habs were pretty bad in transition tonight. We were dominated second and third. Yeah, I don't know. Wolf had to make a lot of great saves. I think dominate is too strong a term. The Flames played well, but I don't think they at any point dominated play. Drum Dude, Demidov channeling his inner regrets, setting up some beauties. Yeah, that was something else, wasn't it? Second period, we got the Canadiens have to come out better in the second. That I will grant you. Gaza, the kid is something else. I was 7 when I see Lafleur for the first time. I believe I've got the same excitement for Demidov. Yeah. Well, I don't think there hasn't been a forward as dynamic. Mats Naslund was pretty damn good. And I think Demidov might be even better than Naslund, who, he had 100 points there one year and was pretty dynamic too. But yeah, I would say since Lafleur, I don't think I've seen a Canadiens forward with as much offensive potential and as skilled and as dynamic as Demidov. He's such a playmaker. How many that one pass to Suzuki too, right? That could have ended it in regulation. Those two are quickly finding some chemistry as well. I hope to see those guys a little more play together a little more often. Even though I still think Slaf's the right guy for that top line. Hey, we might even see a Demidov, Slaf, and Suzuki line at some point too, which wouldn't be too bad. But I wouldn't be messing with it right yet. But Demidov's got to start getting some more 5-on-4 ice time. I think he's just too good when there's space out there, not to be playing more on the power play. Sheldon Hughes, you won't get better goaltending in one game from both goalies. Yeah, well, I hear you. Little Potato, 6-2. Hell yeah, on fire. Yep, that's for sure, Little Potato. Hopefully Monty pulls a Dobes tomorrow and we go 7-2. Yep. Demidov won the game with a 10-second shift that he skated backwards for most of it. Brilliant. I like that the little segment they did. I don't know if you were watching English TV, they actually had a good segment on Canadiens player. The Leafs weren't playing tonight. And I said it last year, and I said it more than once. It's just like he has rubber knees, like the way he can bend them. Like I've never seen a player that like his stance is just so unique, and it makes it impossible to know. He can shift back and forth like both him and Hudson, they're the shiftiest. They could well be the two shiftiest players in the NHL, and they're 19 and 21 or 22. Anyway, the future's so bright. I gotta wear shades. I should have brought my shades down. Yeah, I was in high school when well, some of you guys are showing your age. When the first of four. Yeah. No, I wasn't not quite that old, Sheldon, but yeah, I was in school. Glenn S. Dobson had a bit of a challenging game. Just happened to be his turn tonight. Yeah, we're fortunate to have him. The team won as a team tonight. The room is tight. Well said, as always, Glenn S. I agree. Captain played a very solid game. Agreed. Kadri has 4 years left on his contract. Yeah, I don't. Is he really an upgrade on Kapanen? I don't know. Maybe 3 years ago, yeah, you say it, but I don't know. He's not. I don't think he's the answer, and it would be costly. I'd pass. Yeah, well said. Glenn agrees. No way Kadri should even be a thought here. He'd be a cancer in the room. I agree. I'm just not. I don't know cancer, but I don't know. I just don't see him as a fit with this group. And Newhook looks freaking happy this year. Wow, he just seems to at ease. Yeah, Little Potato likes his booms. LPB, the Habs have to be strongest team in the league in the first period. We just need to fix the second period. Yeah, well, they certainly, that's a change from last year. They weren't always that strong. There's been a couple games that weren't that strong in the first period either, the first few minutes. But yeah, last year that wasn't the case. It was the first period that was the downfall. But yeah, I agree. We got some other Gaza, poor Xhekaj. The lad can't stop and control 50% of the passes to him in the offensive zone. 2 nice passes to him, just got through all the way to Dobes. Yeah, that's not always the case, but yeah, he fumbled a couple. He fumbled a couple through there today. Xhekaj's not out there to win any stick handling competitions, but yeah. Died on Sunday. This is the first time I think we've got a comment from him. Welcome to the community. I said, oh no, then laughed when Dobson turned that over. If he can keep the ratio at this level, it's a huge win that we got him. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we're keeping it in perspective because really Dobson has been a pleasant surprise defensively. I expected to have seen what happened tonight 3 or 4 times so far this season, and for it to be the first time really 8 games into the season, I'll take that every time. Once every 8 games you have a flub like that from Dobson, when you consider everything else that he brings to the table, yeah, I'll take that. Thank you very much. And this is a good point, and he made a really nice play later in the game with that poke check from behind. Good point, Gaz. I also noticed the next shift after the goal against, he jumped up. He really wanted to make up for that mistake. Hey, it happens. The mistakes happen. It wasn't a big, huge deal, I don't think. I'm glad that people are being forgiven, for what he did. I'm just a second here. I got to repost on X. We've got 579 people watching on X. Join us here on, if you're on X watching this, go to the go to the YouTube link and you can chime in the comments. If you got any questions, folks, lots of comments, but wouldn't mind getting posting a few questions, taking a few. Again, I like the fact, 3 guys, Calder Trophy, all legitimate. Like, the Habs could have 3 that finish in the top 5 in Calder voting. It's just the only time anyone's ever come close to that was Marner, Nylander, Matthews. They were all top 6. And the only other time that 3 players from the same team were in the top 10 in voting, like I said, was the Habs with Chelios, Penny, and McPhee. So it's you saw how that transformed the Leafs, right? When they got 3 rookies as good as Matthews, Marner, and Nylander coming in, and it completely transformed their team, right? Well, the Canadiens got 3 legitimate top 6, top 10 rookies this year, but that's only added to a young core that includes Slav, Hudson, Caulfield. Suzuki's still young, like he's just entering his prime. On and on. I can name, Bolduc. So Newhook's young. Like, this is 2 years from now. How good are the Canadiens going to be? It's just it's very, very promising for this club. You have to say. Just gonna keep. We're not gonna go too long here. It's already after midnight. But there's quite a few people here. The adrenaline pumps a little extra at midnight when the Canadiens just win to go 6-2 and to be at the top of the standings. All right, we got the same people that keep making comments here. Let's see if we can find some other Happy Hab. How bad is Calgary's offense? Well, in their last 7, they have scored 1 goal 5 times and 2 goals twice. So that's not very good. They need some help for sure. Here's another Happy Hab question. Grant, would you add Jared McCann from Seattle? Everybody wants a center, eh? I don't know. Going into the year, add a center. I think it's less of a a need now. Like, I like Kapanen and Demidov together. They were great. They had some really good chances tonight and have played well together all year so far. I don't know if I want somebody to come in to replace Kapanen, because I think, at 22 years of age, he's only going to keep getting better. And if you replace him with somebody else and then put him further down the lineup, does he develop like I think he can and become a legitimate top 2 center? Because I see that with Kapanen. I see that he's just so smart, and you can see that he can score goals. Hasn't got any assists yet, but he's also a very good passer. So, I don't know if you need to do it. I think right now the Canadiens, give it 40 games, right? And we'll see if Kapanen stops impressing and playing like he is, then you explore it. It's not like Seattle's going to trade McCann right now anyways. Like, this will be something that they'll have to explore at the trade deadline, right? I want to see where Kapanen is at in 40 games, and if he cools down, if you start seeing he doesn't keep improving and there's not chemistry there in some regard, then sure, go after McCann. Or, I still, the one guy that I'd take all day and twice on Sunday if he's available at the trade deadline, is Crosby. That's a that's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. If they can get Crosby, yeah. But is McCann going to be an upgrade on Kapanen? I don't know. I really like Oliver Kapanen, and I think trading a multiple assets to get someone who may not ultimately be better than Kapanen, I'm not sure that that's the route that the Canadiens should go. Little potato cap, denim, yeah, boom. So far, don't touch that line. The boys are having fun. Yeah, I do like Jared McCann. Don't get me wrong, and I assume that he shoots left. he can play he can play center, but yeah, I mean, if the price was right. But you know what? Seattle's not getting rid of anybody right now, like Jared McCann. I don't know. What do you think, Happy Hab? Should they trade for Shane Wright? Just kidding. The glare that he would give the GM of Seattle if he ever got traded to Montreal, he wouldn't want to see that glare. Jerry C. I did not see Roy Veleno Bolduc in the last few minutes. Yeah. What was my take on Roy? He seemed invisible. Yeah. He laid. He was physical a couple of times. I noticed him in the first period a little more. It's hard when you only get 8 minutes of ice time in a game to be, to stand out. But yeah, they didn't. They weren't by any means dominant out there. But it's tough when you only get a few shifts, right? When you're not playing that often, and close games at the end, they shorten the bench. So I get that. Let's have a few more questions. We won't keep her too long here. We're up over a half hour already. Grant, would you target a winger instead of a 2C to play with Demidov and Cappy? Or maybe move Bolduc up there, but I've liked Newhook so far. Like, that trio's working pretty well. Yeah, Newhook's not a, he's not a huge play creator, I guess you could say, but that speed, the speed of that line and the forecheck, they're tough. They're tough on opposing teams' defense. Like, Kapanen's so good at getting to he gets in there on the forecheck and he gets a stick on that puck and it gets, it gets turned over constantly. He's really good at getting to the pucks along the boards and getting his stick on it and the puck going to either Demidov or Newhook. I really like that line right now, but that's a possibility too, that they look for another winger. But you know what? I don't think they need to. They really need to do much anything right now. Just let the young guys continue to develop and improve. Like, they're so young. The only thing that's going to happen with this group of guys, and the captain line is that they're just going to keep improving. So, like, even Newhook is just reaching his prime, right? So, I mean, it ain't broke, so I wouldn't necessarily fix it. But if they get Sid, and you know what, Mark, I thought about this the other day. Would I give up Cap as part of a deal to get Sid? Absolutely. As much as I like Oliver Kapanen, if that's the piece that one of the pieces that you have to give up to get Sidney Crosby, yeah, yep, I would I would trade Oliver Kapanen in a package for Sidney Crosby. We're talking about a generational player here, and a player that, you know, if Sidney Crosby was on the Canadiens right now, they'd have to be East favorites. Like, I can't see. I think they win the East for sure. Maybe not like this year with Barkov out. I think that the Sidney Crosby would make the Canadiens the favorites in the East, and maybe maybe a cup winner. So yeah, I would trade Oliver Kapanen as part of a deal to get Sidney Crosby. So that tells you how much I like Sidney Crosby. But hey, who doesn't, right? Crosby's just, well, he's the man. Pierre, I think Bolduc is that winner. Yeah, it could be, And this is the other thing too, right? Like Kapanen salary cap, they don't call him Kapanen for nothing, right? He's ELC. I don't know. Do you want to replace him with a 35-year-old like Kadri, or 34 or whatever he is, with his cap hit, 4 more years left on his contract? Like, it would probably cost you a Kapanen and a first-round pick or something like that for Kadri. I wouldn't do that deal. I wouldn't be interested in doing that. Jonathan Richard, who would you give up for Crosby? Well, I just said Kapanen. But like, if they, I mean, ideally you keep Kapanen and you like, Pittsburgh might be interested in guys that aren't necessarily in the NHL right now, because even if if they trade Crosby, they're not gonna be very good. They're tanking it, going for McKenna, basically. It would be, Eddie Johnson days when he, Eddie Johnson was why they changed the NHL rules, the draft, why they installed a lottery, because, well, no, it was Alex Daig, but the impetus when it first started to become something that was discussed in GM meetings, at the end of the season, it was Pittsburgh just trading away everybody so that they could get Mario. Back in the day, it was quite obvious, and then it was after '93 when the Senators clearly tanked to get Alex Daig. I believe that was the final. They said, okay, no more. We're going to have a lottery. But Xhekaj, Engstrom, a couple of firsts. You start there, and maybe it'll take somebody off the roster. I would start with something like that. I see somebody mentioning Reinbacher. I don't think the Canadiens don't want to trade Reinbacher. I'm positive of that. You draft them in the top 5. You haven't even haven't played in the NHL yet. Like, where are those right defensemen down the? You've got Dobson now, right? But they traded away Mayu. I'd be surprised if you could wrestle Reinbacher out of the Canadiens right now. There's so many other good assets that they could offer. I don't think Reinbacher has to be one of them to even to get Crosby, because there are some really good players that could be dangled. Even Jarosky would be in the. I mean, he's a couple of years away at least from playing in the NHL, and Montreal, the way things are going, they're at the top of the standings come February, and you're already a first place team, and you can add Sydney Crosby, who I think is going to be an outstanding player for another 4 or 5 years. Zurowski has to be on the table too, I think. Hage and Zurowski, Engstrom, and a draft pick. I mean, Hage or Zurowski, Engstrom, and a first or 2 firsts, something like that. I would think Pittsburgh would. Are they going to get a more enticing offer than that? Maybe, but the Canadiens could start there, and and at least start discussions with them at that point and see if I would make a deal like that for sure. I started finding you on YouTube like a month before the 2020 draft. You kept saying Slav, Nemec, Cooley, right? That's brilliant. Yeah. I don't think I was saying Nemec too. I actually wasn't a big Nemec fan. I don't think I put him in the top 10. I thought Nemec wouldn't be a good pick at number 2, just like I thought Lev Shunov at 2 was a reach for the Blackhawks. We'll see down the road, but Nemec isn't a very good defensive defenseman. He's 6 foot. He's not a great skater. He had a great draft year as far as playing against men and stuff, but there were scouts and in my circle, and I was one of them, that like NHL guys say, I don't know how much more he's going to develop. The skating's not great. He's not overly big. He's not that good defensively. I don't know how much more he'll improve. And I think it's safe to say that so far that's rang true, that he's not really much better today than he was the year he got drafted. He's starting to finally figure it out a bit, I guess, starting to get a few points here and there, but his defensive play is still definitely a work in progress. But yeah, I did. Shane Wright, I had him 4th, and Cooley. Actually, I had Osland. I loved Osland, and we'll see with him. That's the one guy. It's still really early, right? It's still really early to be judging these guys. There's kids that aren't even in the NHL yet that will still be very good NHL players. They're just not quite ready at this point. But yeah, Shane Wright. I had the fortune of watching him quite a bit live, and he wasn't doing it for me. And I kept reading how he was going number 1, and it boggled my mind because I was not seeing a guy that deserved to be number 1. If the draft had been 2 years before that, okay, but you have to go by what you're seeing and how a player has developed. And you have to be still improving your game. And Wright was an example of a guy that was physically mature at 16 years of age, and that's why he was dominant. But then these other kids caught up as 16, 17, 18. They caught up. He wasn't dominant anymore. His skill level was good, but it wasn't elite. And we're seeing it now that Shane Wright will be a decent power play guy that will get you, some points in the power play. Probably be a 50, 60 point player, but Catton's going to overtake him. He'll be the second line center in Seattle in a year or two, and Wright's probably still doesn't impress me, even strength at the NHL level. He just is play away from the puck is never going to be great. I think I see him as a third line center, power play specialist type player. Maybe even switch him to the wing. I thought in his draft year that, it might end up ultimately, if he wants to play top six role, that he have to switch to the wing because his defense is not very good. But enough about Shane Wright. Happy Hab. Grant, have you met the new Habs regime? Gordon or Hughes, St. Louis? Yeah, I met Jeff Gordon at a Ottawa 67s game. Nick Bobrov told me that he'd be there and that I should go introduce myself to him and have a chat, and I did. Just as nice, you get a good impression of Jeff Gordon during his interviews. Pretty humble, nice, just a nice guy. I got a really, he's understated. He's not bombastic. Very low key guy, very intelligent. I got nothing but good vibes from Jeff Gordon, and I think the Canadiens are in good hands with him. It's a good mix with Gordon and Hughes, I think. And I have not met Marty or Hughes yet. I was at a game and waiting to go into the washroom, and Hughes came up at one point, and I don't know if it's the nerve or whatever. I didn't say anything to him. I couldn't come up with anything. If I just thought of something funny or whatever, I would have said something. But yeah, I was just next up at the washroom, so I just went in and I didn't say anything to him. And Marty was eating hot dogs. The last time I was at the Bell Center, the rookie tournament, they all came into the media, like the cafeteria or whatever you want to call it. And, they were all standing there eating hot dogs. And I thought about going up to him and introducing myself, but then I figured, he probably won't even know who I am. So I didn't bother. But yeah, I did meet Gordon and had a nice chat with him, and he was super nice. Cap Engstrom in the first, maybe. If if they take that, I'd rather offer Xhekaj because Cap can help them win now, right? And Xhekaj could be 2-3 years away. I think the Canadiens are contenders from here on in, including this year. So I'd rather it be Xhekaj that got traded. Maybe Xhekaj and Engstrom would be enough, but would probably have to throw in a first too. ZX82, when Goalie comes back, would you swap Struble and Xhekaj's playing time? I'm not quite sure. When Goalie comes back, one of those guys is out of the lineup. So, personally, I think it should be Xhekaj that's out of the lineup when Goalie's back. I think Struble's better than Xhekaj, but it would still, they'd have to alternate here and there. Like, you're playing a tough team, you might want to put Xhekaj in there just to kind of place things a little more. But I think you platoon them, play Xhekaj a few games, Struble a few games. Whoever's playing better gets more ice time. But personally, right now, I like Struble. I think Struble's playing better than Xhekaj at the moment. Pierre Gingras, it would hurt to give Capping when he's improving at the pace he is now. I would try to avoid it. Yeah, well, yeah. But if that's who it takes, right? And they will trade Sydney Crosby, which 2 years ago people would have thought you were nuts. Whatever it takes. Reinbacher, Roy, and a pick, even first. Yeah. I don't know, Joshua Roy, like that's not moving the needle as far as getting it would take they're going to want back a good forward prospect, and Joshua Roy is not that right now. Reinbacher's never played and maybe never will. Oh, okay, little potato. Pierre Gingras, right shot centers who can put. Reinbacher's 20 years of age, by the way, or just turned 21. So just hold off. Yeah, he'll play. Trust me. Right shot centers who can put 50 points and win over 50% in the dot are worth a lot. I think this is Cappy for you very soon. Yeah. Well, I'm glad people are coming around on him. He's certainly looked good. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Off Hetty, I wouldn't do Hage. Yeah. Hage, I'm still not sure that he'll be a center at the NHL level. Certainly number 2 center. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I think he'll be a good he'll be a skilled middle line player, either third line center or second or third line winger, I believe. That would be my projection on him right now. But we'll see. His defense has to come. Jarosky, no freaking way he stays here, but yeah, well, we'll see. Saw an interesting interview with Jarosky. He was asked if he could have dinner with, who would you have dinner with? Anybody in the world? And he said McDavid, and he said Vladimir Putin. So, yeah. Anyway, I found that interesting. To get Sidney Crosby, if it takes Vladimir Putin lover, I would trade a Vladimir Putin lover no matter how skilled he is. Grant, if Crosby wants to play here, the price goes down. Yeah. And the fleece and plain and simple. Yeah. No, sorry. I disagree. Crosby's going to be fantastic for another 5 years, especially on a winning team. He's a generational player, and I could see him 6 years from now helping a team win a cup. So, no, if there's some way that you could get him, whatever it takes. There would be a few untouchables, obviously, like Demidov, right? You don't deal Hudson. I wouldn't want to deal Reinbacher, but if that, if they only want Reinbacher in a first or something like that, I'd consider it. But I really think the Canadiens, they're looking long term with Reinbacher, and I see him being a top 2. Him and Dobson being the 2 right defensemen down the line, and helping them contend for cups for a lot of years. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't surprised that New Jersey took Nemec at 2. I just wouldn't have taken him there, but I don't know that I said that Wright would go for it, but that's where I ranked him. And Tony Marinaro made a bet in part because I had, I kept telling him that on the show that 4th overall, and he nailed it. Actually, he got the first 4 and made a bet and made quite a bit of money. But I never bought me a beer for it. Wright has horrible body language on and off the ice, speaks poorly of his character. Yeah, I don't know. I hear you. There are some things that bother me body language wise. Marc Olivier Rochon, thank you. Nice to see some new folks on here. Geez, it's already almost an hour. I love reading the comments and seeing your comments. I'll take a few more, but we're going to have to wrap it up here. We should not sacrifice 6-7 years of success for 2 years of Crosby. Well, no, what 2 years of Crosby? Sidney Crosby's never scored less than a point a game in his career. Nobody works harder and keeps himself in better shape than Sidney Crosby. Was Jaromir Jagr done at 37 years of age? Jagr played for another decade, and Crosby's better than Jagr. Crosby, if he decided to, could play another decade and help the team win. There's no way he only has 2 good years left. Not a chance. Crosby is special. And yeah, I would sacrifice, you could have 6-7 years of success with Crosby. Minimum 5. I think he's got at least 5 more years left. The guy is a freak. So respectfully, I appreciate you coming on, Marc Olivier, and I hope you come on more often. But I'll respectfully disagree with the notion that Crosby only has 2 years left. All right, we'll take a couple more. Up to 900 people have come on at this time of night. That's crazy. Reinbacher better, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. For sure, Reinbacher. Just got to give it some time. He's going to be a really, really good defenseman. We have to, it's easy when he's not playing, out of sight, out of mind. But believe me, Reinbacher is going to be a very good one. You don't want him going anywhere. He's part of this group that's going to contend for a lot of years. And that's the one guy that I would be surprised if any young prospects like Zerowski goes before Reinbacher. Xhekaj goes before Reinbacher. Engstrom goes before Reinbacher. I bet my house on it. Gaza, I wonder what Molson is paying his front office. Assume those 2 new 5-year contracts hit front office highs like Kaprizov did for the players. Yeah, it's funny how they don't, they don't disclose what executives get, which I don't know. I find it a bit funny, but yeah, I'd be curious to know. But Molson's not known to be to throw money around, so I bet you it's not anything outrageous. What's this one now? Goalie and Doc for Crosby. Goalie, yeah. Yeah, we'll give you some damaged goods there. Tyler Durden, Xhekaj's better than Struble. We all see his improvement. Okay, thank you, Tyler. Yeah. If we trade Crosby, we have a trade a roster player like a center. I'm thinking Doc. Why do we have to? The Pittsburgh's not winning anytime soon if they trade Crosby. Why does it have to be, what, for salary wise? I guess Doc, well, hey, if they'll take Doc, sure. I don't have an issue with that. But it would take a lot more. It would take a lot more than Doc, that's for sure. Yeah, well, folks, I think we're going to wrap her up here. Oh, geez, a lot of people weighing in. Here's a new question for a scout. Hey, Grant, I'm going to see the next Bobby Orr, Landon Dupont. Yeah, whenever ever it comes to Vancouver, Oh boy. Well, what kind of things you look for? Well, Paul, thanks for your question, and thank you for joining us. You, you won't have to squint to find him. He'll be the guy with the puck all the time back there. Just a dynamic offensive defenseman already, and decent defensively too. Very good with the puck. Fantastic with the puck. Good skater, smart. Just checks off all the boxes. Competitive. Maybe a little undersized, but that won't matter one iota with this kid. He's special. You'll have a lot of fun. Watching him. And I guess you see Ryan Lynn all the time. He's a half decent defense prospect as well. Thank you for the question, Paul. All right, guys. Over an hour now. Got to get some shut eye. Appreciate everybody coming out. And hey, Dave, great job. Grant Love Habscast. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for weighing in. Everybody, hit subscribe, hit like, hit hype. All those things. Every bit helps drive up my numbers and the algorithm on YouTube. So please just do me a favor and do those things, and we'll listen. I really appreciate everybody staying up this late. That's out east, especially in the Maritimes or Newfoundland. It's like 2 in the morning now in Newfoundland. So, all right, everyone, thank you. Have a good night, and I'll probably do a lunchtime. Set up a pre-game for tomorrow. I think Eric is probably going to come on with me. So I'm looking at lunchtime tomorrow. Another live Habscast. Okay, guys. Somebody just asked when. I just answered. Hopefully tomorrow at noon, guys. Everybody show up that can. Lunchtime, live lunch, Habscast. Okay. Have a good night. Go Habs, go.